You're entering the Blitz with your host, Matt Maldonado, on Madness4life News. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Matt Maldonado, here in FEMA Region 9 in Las Vegas, and this is the Blitz, Madness4life News, and it is podcast number 53, episode number 24, and it is September 24th, 2012. I'm going to be getting into a lot of news here today. So let's get into it right now from the economic collapse. From the economic collapse, Americans are literally being worked to death. Are you consistently tired, and do you feel incredibly stressed almost all the time? Well, that means that there is a really good chance that you are a typical American worker. Even though our incomes are going down, Americans are spending more time at work than ever before. In fact, U.S. workers spend more time at work than anyone else in the world. But it was not always this way. Back in 1970, the average work week for an American worker was about 35 hours. Today, it is up to 46 hours, but there are other major economies around the globe that are doing just fine without burning their workers out. For example, the average American worker spends 378 more hours working per year than the average German worker does. Sadly, for many Americans, work is not even finished once they leave the office. According to one recent survey, the average American worker spends an extra 7 hours per work week on work tasks such as checking emails and answering phone calls after normal work hours have finished. Other Americans are juggling 2 or 3 jobs in a desperate attempt to make ends meet. Americans are busier than ever, and work is often pushing the other areas of our lives on the back burner. What this also means is that family vacations are becoming increasingly rare in the United States. In fact, Americans spend less days on vacation than anyone else in the industrial world. While some would applaud our work ethic, the truth is that the fact that we are being overworked is having some very serious consequences. In fact, as you will see below, Americans are literally being worked to death. The following is an expert from a comment that one reader posted on one of my recent articles. Can you identify with what his family is going through? Let's find out. I always try and remember to be thankful and say prayers of gratitude for the blessings I have. However, I can tell you that my wife and I are getting more and more exhausted. Straightforward payroll taxes nailed us for 30,000 hours last year, and the dozens of other taxes are often overlooked, but also hitting us harder and harder. My wife works 14-hour shifts at her dialysis clinic 3 days a week and every other weekend. On the Tuesdays and Thursdays she has off, she ends up resting half the day to give her poor feet a break, since a nurse on her feet 14 straight hours of continual busyness is exhausting. On top of that, her company has had a pay freeze for 3 years, has dropped holidays down to just 2 per year. Thanksgiving and Christmas, of which she must work one of them, has canceled the reimbursement of her CEUs. Medical professionals are required to continue to take schooling and classes for their entire career in order to renew their licenses. Also, they no longer match 401ks, and her company health plan just bumped up $30 per week. I put in so much hours at times that when I get home, I am too tired to eat. I come home, change clothes, shower, and go straight to bed. This is not living. I try and keep my volunteer work and rounds at our local nursing home, but something is going to have to give. My case loads are growing and growing, and people are making attempts 2 to 3 weeks, applications 2 to 3 weeks in advance. I never had, well, actually, I think it's vacations. No, it's applications. I'm sorry. I never had a schedule so filled in advance before. I usually have more long-term appointments with needs of stroke, Parkinson's, traumatic brain injuries, but now points are scheduling surgeries as to when I'll have slots for hip replacement and knee replacement rehab time. I'm ground down, and in the meantime, everything is getting more expensive. They keep taking more of my money I earn, and we are having all of our benefits cut or completely stopped. Of course. Why do you think they're putting on QE3? Not only as commodity prices are going to skyrocket even more, but also everybody's work week is going to continue. I mean, the work hours is going to continue to skyrocket. You're going to continue to work, but all of your also hours, your pay is going to lower. So if you think you're going to get $9 or even $8 or even $10 an hour, it's going to go down to about 5 to about 4. It's going to get worse and worse and worse, to the point where this entire United States is going to be literally Liberia or Sierra Leone. I got to continue here because I only have a limited time for this podcast. Continuing here, all over this country, millions of hardworking men and women are slowly being worn down by jobs that are sucking the life out of them. Working way too many hours for an extended period of time can have dramatic consequences for your health, your family, and just about every other area of your life. But for some Americans, there is simply no other choice. There are millions upon millions of Americans that live on the edge of financial disaster these days. According to one recent survey, 77% of all Americans live paycheck to paycheck at least some of the time, and the middle class in the United States has been shrinking at a very steady pace in recent years. Many Americans are not working 60 or 70 hours per week because they want to Many are doing it because that is what they must do just to survive. For example, a recent article posted on Economy in Crisis profiled a mother of four up in Michigan, named Lisa Barswith, who can't make ends meet for her family despite working 3 jobs. Barswith remarried, but her current husband, Ray, was forced onto medical disability when a prescription medication caused health problems. The couple, who had a 4th child together, struggled to support their family on Lisa's the minimum income. Lisa's gross monthly income was working as a classroom aide in Royth's perf schools and doing 2 Chronicle newspapers routes is $1,900. That amounts to $22,800 annually, nearly $5,000 below the poverty level for a family of 6. When they run out of money near the end of each month, Lisa and Ray line up at one of several food trucks that visit Muskin each month. Earlier this month, the couple and 3 of their children waited in line at a food truck at Clive. That's not Clive. It's Cleveland. That's not Cleveland. It's Cleveland. It's called. Whatever. Christian Reformed Church in Norton Shores. Lisa had just finished her 2 newspaper routes and was clearly frustrated after another 70 hours work week. I'm tired, she said. Today, there are more than 100 million Americans on welfare. A significant percentage of those people actually do have jobs. In fact, some are working 2 or 3 jobs. Working class Americans are working harder than ever, but at the same time, many of them are making less money than they once did. This is putting an incredible amount of stress on working class families. In fact, it appears that a lot of Americans are literally working themselves to death. And as a recent NBC news article described, this is practically true for poor Americans that do not have much education. Overall, life expectancy has dropped for white Americans who have less than a high school diploma to rates similar to those of the 1950s and 1960s, new research found. The study found a non-Hispanic white men without a diploma lived on average until 67.5 in 2008, 3 years less than they did in 1990. The drop is lifespan was even bigger for non-Hispanic white women with low education. They live 5 years shorter than 1990 rates, from 78 years old to just 37.5 years old. So 37, no, it's 73. Why do I keep saying 37? It's 73. 73 and a half years old, or 67 and a half years old for white males. Continuing here. This is a sign that our society is going backwards. Working class Americans are actually living significantly shorter lives than they used to. Of course, the garbage that passes for food these days certainly is not helping matters any. But that is a topic for another article. Sadly, those that are working themselves to death consider themselves to be the lucky ones in our society today. There are countless millions of other Americans that are sitting at home right now without a job. Right here. Well, actually, that's not true. I do have a job coming up. This is my job also. Continuing here, the mainstream media is trying to convince us that the unemployment rate has been falling, but that is a lie. If the labor force rate was the same today as it was back when Obama first took office, the unemployment rate in the United States would be 11.2% right now. But that doesn't sound nearly as good as 8.1%. 8.1% sounds right. The percentage of working age Americans with a job is actually lower today than when the last recession supposedly ended. In this economic environment, most people are scared to death of losing the jobs that they currently have because they don't know if they will be able to get another one. During the month of August, the unemployment rate actually increased in 26 different U.S. states, and yet we are supposedly in the midst of an economic recovery. But the truth is that we are not better off than we were back during the last recession. In fact, there are a whole host of statistics that indicate that things are getting worse. Unfortunately, much of the time people tend to forget that the humble economic numbers that we are seeing have very substantial real-life consequences. People that cannot find work and people that work very long hours for a very long period of time tend to be much more depressed than the population as a whole. And depression can often lead to suicide. According to a recent Daily Mail article, more Americans now die from suicide than from car incidents. And I'm going to be talking about that later in the show. But continuing here with that article, with that quote from the article, suicides is the cause of more deaths than car crashes, according to an alarming new study. The number of people who committed suicide in the U.S. has drastically increased, while deaths from car incidents have dropped, making suicide the leading cause of injury death. Suicides via falls or poisoning have risen significantly, and experts fear that there could be many more unaccounted for, approximately in cases of overdose. That is incredibly tragic because there is never a reason for anyone to commit suicide. One of the things that I have learned in my life is that there is always a way for things to be turned around, which is very true. Yes, life can be very hard when you don't have much money, but our lives should not be about chasing material things anyway. Our lives should be about so much more than that. If you are currently feeling overly tired and overly stressed because you have been working too much, I encourage you to take a vacation. We are only given one life to live. We shouldn't spend it working ourselves to death. So what do you think about all of this? Please feel free to post a comment with your thoughts below. That is it with that article here right now. These articles are from the Drudge Report. First article of the Drudge Report This is from the World News, NBC News report. Riots break out at Foxconn factory in China. Reports earlier Monday from China suggest that a mass disturbance or riots may have broken out at a Foxconn factory in the Chinese city of Taiyuan, or whatever. It is still unclear what exactly happened, but posts on China's popular Twitter-like service, Weibo, from users in the area show photographs and video of large numbers of police in and around the factory, many in riot gear, blocking off thugs of people. Other photos show depressive strain around the Foxconn compound, and in one case, an overturned guard tower. According to popular tech blog in Gadget, whatever, this disturbance kicked off after Foxconn security guards allegedly hit a worker around 10 p.m. on Sunday. Censors in China have reportedly already started deleting pictures from the scene. This is not the first time that Foxconn has had problems with its factories, which is reportedly responsible for the formation of the back plate of the immensely popular new iPhone 5 in March. Strikes broke out there after workers did not receive a pay raise they had reportedly been promised. Of course not. They're not going to promise you a pay raise. They're going to take that pay raise away. Continuing here. Because the whole thing is slave labor. If you think you're going to get a pay raise, think again. It's going to happen here too. Oh yeah, it's going to happen pretty soon. Hopefully not, but I have kind of a feeling that's going to happen pretty soon. Continuing here, meanwhile, Foxconn's Chengdu plant in the province also has dealt with riots in June. Scores of Foxconn workers there got into a fight with a local restaurant owner that had to be broken up by police. Foxconn is the Taiwanese electrics manufacturer responsible for much of the current production and assembly of Apple's popular line of products, as well as a wide variety of popular tech toys ranging from laptops to gaming consoles. But Foxconn has been under fire for years for its tough working conditions, including long hours, low wages, and strict rules on representation. The company has also dealt with a string of suicides at its plants across China, which led to the company in 2010 installing anti-jumping nets to prevent more suicide attempts. The company has taken steps to improve working conditions in its factories by reducing work hours and raising wages for its frontline workers. Because you got to get the slaves happy, huh? You got to get those slaves happy, even though they're not going to be happy if you continue to basically screw them all day. And you're not going to give them any vacation hours or any vacation days for them to rest. But hey, that's all right. Who needs to rest? I mean, what do I know? You know, just some jackass with long hair. Okay, continuing here. Still, perhaps, while of the continued negative publicity that has plagued one of its primary manufacturers over the years, Apple recently took steps to diversifies its portfolio of producers, recently awarding much of the manufacturing of its new iteration of the iPad to another Taiwan's company, Pagayron. That's it with that article. Continuing here. All right. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the article that I had and I can't find it now. Where'd it go? There it is. More Americans now commit suicide than are killed in car crashes as miserable economy takes its toll. This is from the Daily Mail, and it was also from the Drudge Report. The Drudge Report picked this up. Now, deaths from suicide up 15 points, with fears more deaths go uncounted. $56 million suicide provision plan being rolled out after shocking statistics. Harsher penalties for drink driving credited with reducing road deaths. Good luck at that. Yeah, like you need the government to tell you you can't commit suicide. Well, I'm depressed. Doesn't matter. We're going to tell you what to do. Ridiculous. Always got to put government into everything. In your lives and everything. It's just ridiculous. Continuing here, suicide is the cause of more deaths than car crashes. According to an alarming new study, the number of people who commit suicide in the United States has drastically increased while deaths from car incidents have dropped, making suicide the leading cause of injury death. Suicides via falls or poisoning have risen significantly, and experts fear that there could be many more unaccountable for, practically in cases of overdose. Suicides are terribly undercounted, said Ian Rockett, author of the study, published on Thursday in the American Journal of Public Health. I think the problem is much worse than official data would lead us to believe. We have a situation that has gotten out of hand. He added that his goal is to see the same attention paid to other injuries as has been paid to reducing the number of deaths in traffic incidents. The results were compiled using National Center for Health Statistic data gathered from 2000 to 2009. Researchers noted a 25% decrease in fatal car incidents. Medical Express.com reported while deaths from falls rose 71%, poisoning 128%, and from suicide 15%. Higher automobile standards were credited for the decrease in deaths on the road, with harsher penalties for underage drinking and failing to wear seatbelts named as contributing factors. Okay, but still, you shouldn't be telling people that you shouldn't have a seatbelt. That should be their choice. It shouldn't be the government telling you, hey, you need to have seatbelts. Or else. It's just, you're going to arrest me for not having a seatbelt? Exactly. And we're going to raise the revenues, even though it's not going to raise revenues by giving you tickets. It's just going to go to foreign banks. But hey, that's all right. Continuing here. Previous research has suggested that suicide rates go up during a recession and times of economic crisis. Economic problems can impact how people feel about themselves and their futures, as well as their relationships with family and friends. of, was it Fujun Liu of CDC's Division of Violence Protection Prevention told Bloomberg. Prevention suggests can focus on individuals, families, neighborhoods, or entire communities to reduce risk factors. Suicides is now the most frequent cause of injury, deaths, followed by car crashes, poisoning, falls, and murder. The study also looked at gender and race, including that fewer women died from the four main causes than men. Hispanics were discovered to have fewer car crashes and suicides than whites, but a higher murder rate. In 2009, more than 37,000 Americans took their own lives, a number of that the government and private groups such as Facebook are fighting to lower. A suicide prevention program is being launched under the Garrett Lee Smith Memorial Act, backed by $56 million of federal money. You know what you guys can also do? Hey, why don't you stop putting stuff in the shows that you guys make by reducing that? Because they keep watching these films, and sometimes these films will make them want to commit suicide because they feel so depressed. But hey, what do I know? I'm some jackass with long hair. Just nobody. That's fine. Hey, because I have no money, I'm nobody. Okay, fine. Even if I had money, I'd still be nobody. Wouldn't really matter. But hey, continuing here. The act was signed by George Bush in 2004. Bilderberg and Bohemian Grove, known Satanist. But hey, in memory of suicide victim Garrett, son of former U.S. Senator Gordon Smith, speaking at a September 10th news conference, Mr. Smith said, "Our goal is in the next 5 years, we will save 20,000 human lives. This issue touches earlier every family. It is something we can do something about. It's the work of angels." Annie Berman, executive director of the American Association of Suicidology, said while much is known about how to prevent suicides, there are centuries of systematic attitudes that need to be overcome. Well, there's also things of like when you surround yourself with people that are either depressed or either want you to be depressed, or you don't have really people around you that make you happy and stuff like that, or you're watching something that's depressed, it makes you depressed. It makes you want to commit suicide sometimes. Anyway, I'm babbling and ranting. I'm literally wasting time here. Continuing here. Both globe and national increases in the number and rate of suicide should concern all of us. He added, pushing for a collaborative effort to turn these many lives from despair and hopelessness to ones of meaning and brighter futures. And that's it with that article. 2 more to go. This is from Yahoo News. The Judge Report picked this up. Japan protests as Chinese ships are entering despaired waters. This was published 7 hours ago. Tokyo Reuters, 4 Chinese ships briefly entered what Japan considers its territorial waters near disputed islands in the East China Sea on Monday, promoting an official protest from Tokyo and renewed diplomatic efforts to cool tensions between the rivals in a move that could further complicated the territorial role that is threatening relations between Asia's biggest economies, a group of fishermen from Taiwan, which also claims the rocky ILS said as many as 100 boats assorted by 10 Taiwan Coast Guard vessels were headed for the area. China's Xinhua news agency said in the morning that two civilian surveillance ships were undertaking a right defense patrol near the islands, citing the State Oceanic Administration, which controls the ships. Two fishery patrol vessels were also detected inside waters claimed by Japan. Japan lodged an official protest by afternoon. All four Chinese vessels had moved further away. The Japanese Coast Guard said Japanese relations deterrent shapely after Japan brought the islands called Sunakyu in Japan and Danyu in China earlier this month, sparking anti-Japan protests across China. In recent days, Japan has consistently provoked incidents concerning the Diaoyu Islands issue, gravely violating China's territorial sovereignty, they report. The ship's patrols were intended to exercise China's administrative jurisdiction over the islands, it said, flowing the relative laws of the People's Republic of China. The ships again carried out a regular rights defense patrol in our territorial waters around the Diaoyu Islands. Sino-Chinese ties have long been plagued by China's memories of Japan's military aggression in the 1930s and 40s and presented rivalry over regional influence and resources. Japanese Foreign Minister Joe Guana will visit China on Monday to discuss Sino-Japanese relations with Chinese Vice Minister. The Foreign Minister said Taiwan complications, the arrival of Taiwan vessels in the area could complicate the potential fault game of cat and mouse being played near the islands, where mainland China has launched an effort to assert sovereignty by sending government ships into the disputed waters. There we go. Taiwan's television showed boats bound for the islands, leaving Sunio port in heavy rain, sporting banners and large Taiwan flags. News reports said bad weather could delay their arrival, expect overnight on Monday. And it just continues on from there. Last but not least, it's Man Bear Pig. Man Bear Pig. This is a good deal, Larry. Oh. Al Gore to do dirty weather report. This is from The Hill, and Drudge Report picked this up. Al Gore hopes to show links between climate change and the effort of extreme weather worldwide with an online and social media fueled event built around the idea of dirty weather. Gore's advisory group, the Climate Reality Project, announced Sunday that its second multimedia 24 hours of reality event will occur November 14th, 15th, and bear the title, The Dirty Weather Report. The extreme weather that is occurring is not fully caused by the natural cycles of time and natural events, but by dirty energy. So it is really important to curate that and end it and name it more precisely, said Megan Fox, the CEO, Meggie Fox, whatever, the CEO of the Climate Reality Project, in an interview Saturday. Organizers called the November event part of an effort to counter the lobbying and financial power of oil and coal interest by using social media and other tools to engage people directly. Gore said on Sunday that dirty weather is weather that's enabled by emissions from fossil fuels and misinformation about climate change. No, it's not. But hey, that's all right. You keep telling yourself that it's all about CO2 emissions, when in reality, if you look up and you see chemtrails, that's actual man-made climate change, actually. They're actually changing the weather on purpose. So they go, see, it's climate change. It's all about, give me money, I'll save you, even though in reality it won't. Continuing here. This crisis has to be understood in order to be stopped. The misinformation includes messaging that it is not happening, that we can't solve it, that we can't afford to act, the former vice president said in a videotape announcement. However, together with your help and the... Oh, wait, let me get his voice. And together with your help and the full force of our 21st century technology and media, we can stop the misinformation and the dirty weather. We can solve the climate crisis. I'm Al Gore. He said in remarks to a conference in New York on technology and social change. The live-streamed online event in November is slated to provide contact from nations all over the world and will engage preparations through social media sites, including Twitter. It will include expert commentary as well as crowd-sourced videos about how weather is altering our lives and homes, and profiles of community developing solutions to the climate crisis, the group said. Even though in reality, what changes climate is the sun. If you actually look up and look at the sun, that's what changes the weather, as well as the Earth's axis and the highs and the low temperatures from the north, the south, and the east and west. That's what changes climate. And the precipitation. If you ever read a Farmer's Almanac, which I can clearly see he hasn't, as well as many others. That's why they like to bring false information out there saying that climate change is really going to hurt the economy, but the only thing is it's not hurting anyone, but it's your fault. They always have to blame the humans. It's the humans' fault, and they need to not be enforced, and we need to burn down their homes if they don't want to pay me money, and those evil white people, those evil humans. Continuing here. Their strong push to use social media to boost interest in addressing climate change comes as advertised are playing defense politically in Washington, D.C. Climate change legislation is dead, at least for now. On Capitol Hill, and Republicans are pushing to block Environmental Protection Agency greenhouse gas regulations. Organizers hope to build political movements with the event, which will occur just a week after November's U.S. Elections. Fox said 24 hours of reality is exploitedly intended to connect people everywhere and activate them to take action, and also re-educate them, basically, and to advocate for system-wide solutions with their elected officials. Gore announced, or Man Bear Pig as he's also called, the event to the Social Good Summit that's taking place in New York City. The summit is aimed as exploring ways to harness new media and technology to address environmental problems, poverty and development, disease, and other issues. Environmentalists are citing extreme weather, including recent heat waves and drought in the United States, to seek to show the climate change is not an accelerated future problem, but other same that's already underway with damaging effects. Climate experts say that while individual weather efforts can be led at the feet of climate change, more frequent and intense drought, violent storms, and extreme heat waves are expected in a warming world. And some scientists are now ditching the convent about individual weather efforts. And it just continues on from there. That is it for the show. I'm going to be back tomorrow at 12. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today. If you want to hit that subscribe button, you can follow me at Madness4life News at YouTube, or you can also follow me on the links below at Facebook and Planet InfoWars, Vimeo, and other websites. So thank you very much, and God bless America. And I haven't said this in a long time, and united we stand, and divided we fall.